On February 29, 2016, it was tense at the Oktyabrskoye pole station of the Moscow metro. A woman dressed in all black from head to toe got out of a taxi, placed a prayer mat and a bag with unknown contents on the ground. The surprised looks of passers-by bounced off her large figure like bullets off bulletproof armor. She knelt down and began to pray. The strange woman immediately attracted the attention of the police officers. They approached her and, interrupting her stream of prayer, asked her to show her identification. The woman fell silent, then pulled the bag closer to herself and took a human head out of it. It was the severed head of a little girl with short hair. "I am the one who took her life," the woman cried out, "and now I'm going to blow myself up." Soon, the exit from Oktyabrskoye pole station was blocked, and visitors to nearby shops and shopping centers were immediately evacuated. Amid the usual hustle and bustle that always accompanied crowded places on weekdays, loud screams rang out. The rumble of trains stopped for a while, so the believer's voice filled the cold winter air. She called herself a terrorist and kept repeating that she hated democracy, and several times she said Allahu Akbar. No one knew what to expect from someone holding a child's head. Besides this, probably the most horrifying object, she also had explosives with her, which if used could have caused a large number of casualties. Fortunately, the woman was apprehended within 40 minutes. She turned out to be 39-year-old Babakulova, a native of Uzbekistan, mother of 3 children, and previously a nanny with very good references. The girl, named Nastya, whom she killed, was born on August 18, 2011 in the family of Vladimir and Yekaterina Meshcheryakov. The girl could. A medical error cost the little girl her carefree life. By the mercy of angels in white coats, she spent a whole 14 hours in her mother's womb without breathing. That's why the piercing cry that usually accompanies the birth of a baby was not heard in Nastya's case. Throughout her short life, the girl suffered from epilepsy, psychomotor developmental delay, and was unable to move on her own. However, despite the difficulties they faced, the Meshcheryakov family returned and lived in harmony and friendship. Most of the money they earned was spent on the girl's health. At first, she received treatment in China, then her parents planned to take her to Germany. When Nastya turned 1, Vladimir and Ekaterina began searching for a nanny. They interviewed several candidates, and in the end they chose Babakulova. A woman from Uzbekistan moved to Moscow and quickly changed jobs several times. The wife should follow.
And here's a question. Did she work somewhere here in Moscow?
When? Now?
Recently? Yes, the nanny worked there for a year and a half caring for this daughter. How old was the child?
4.
A year and a half?
I first sorted onions at a vegetable warehouse, then worked as a market saleswoman, and later as a nanny for a Moscow family. She arrived at the Meshcheryakovs with a good reputation and by their friends' accounts became close to Nastya. They got along well. Besides, Babakulova gave the impression of being a completely adequate person, modest and kind. She was considered a member of the family and was simply called Gulia. But on February 29, 2016, something went wrong. In the apartment located on the 5th floor of the building on Narodnogo Opolchenia Street, something terrible was brewing since early morning. Nastya's parents went out on errands, taking their 15-year-old son with them. The girl, as sometimes happened, was left alone with Gulchekra. At first she played in her room and then, feeling tired, fell asleep. Her nanny wasn't sleepy at all. Babakulova entered the nursery and heard the peaceful breathing of the girl. She stood and looked at the child for a long time. Then she grabbed Nastya by the neck and began to squeeze. The weakened victim did not resist. Death came very quickly. Making sure that Nastya was not breathing, the nanny went to the kitchen and brought a large knife into the room. Placing the blade against the dead body, Babakulova separated the head from the torso. Then she put the head in a bag, set the apartment on fire using lamp oil and left the house. She caught a taxi and named Oktyabrskoye Pole metro station as her destination. The driver noticed the strange bag his passenger was carrying, but had no idea how horrifying its contents were. As Babakulova rode in the car, fire consumed nearly all of the Meshcheryakov's apartment. Smelling burning and seeing clouds of smoke coming from the windows, the neighbors called the fire department. Firefighters quickly responded and extinguished the flames, but the apartment was completely destroyed. Amid the ashes, the most horrifying find was Nastya's headless body. Meanwhile, the head was in a completely different place, and cynically showing it to everyone around, the woman in black threatened to start a real bloody coup. After her arrest, Gulchikra Babakulova confessed that by taking the girl's life, she wanted to take revenge on Russia for its military actions in Syria, for the blood that was shed there.
But what does the child have to do with it?
She took revenge on whom? On the one who spilled his blood. On whom? Who spilled it? And who spilled it? Bombing with a plane? Why Muslims? Why are you bombing?
She added that she acted in the name of Allah and sacrificed Nastya exactly by his order. This woman was born in Samarkand in a large family. Besides her, the parents raised 5 more daughters. Babakulova's first husband was named Radmir, and it was from him that she gave birth to 3 sons.
You have children yourself, 3 sons. You see, they were killed.
In 2002, after the woman was diagnosed with schizophrenia, their marriage broke up. Gulchikra was registered at the psychoneurological dispensary. In her village, she was called crazy and couldn't find work, but in Moscow, no one knew this. When Babakulova moved to Moscow in search of a better life, she met Sukrob Muminov, who was also from Samarkand. They fell in love with each other and got married. For more than 2 years, their family life was idyllic until Gulchikra found out that Sukrob was cheating on her with another woman. This bad news naturally led to divorce. In March 2014, a 48-year-old native of Tajikistan, Mamur Jurakulov, appeared in Babakulova's life. They entered into a Sharia marriage with him and made a trip to the man's homeland. After this, strange behavior appeared in Gulchikra and the homeless S, who has a serious mental disorder. She began spending a lot of time on the internet and often corresponded with someone. The good-natured nanny became withdrawn, less talkative, and having previously prayed in a separate room in the Meshcheryakov's apartment, began to pray even more fervently. Nastya's parents repeatedly suggested that Babakulova change jobs, believing that her unusual behavior was caused by fatigue from caring for a sick child. However, she flatly refused. One day, the woman announced that she wanted to go to Syria, where, despite her previous preference for secular clothing, she could wear a burqa and live according to Islamic law. All these oddities led to a sinister act that overshadowed the last day of February for the Meshcheryakov family and possibly all of Moscow and Russia. During the interrogation, Gulchikra Babakulova readily admitted that she would have dealt with all her sons as well. Why don't they read the Quran?
And you?
Do you read the Quran?
I read the Quran and I pray night and day. I cry to God. Only God said, stand up, I am with you, the one who will kill you a second before the end of the world, a second.
After her arrest, the criminal had a psychiatric evaluation and treatment at the Butyrka pretrial detention center hospital. She was declared insane and diagnosed with fur-like schizophrenia, a dangerous illness where each episode of fur occurs suddenly. On October 24, 2016, a trial was held for Dinyana Jikadi, as Gulchikra had already come to be called. During the hearing, she fully admitted her guilt. Since she suffered from a mental disorder, the defendant was sent for compulsory treatment. The brutal death of Nastya shocked the public. Caring people helped the Meshcheryakov family financially. The money raised went not only to organizing the funeral, but also to restoring the burned apartment. The fire Babakulova started caused 5 million rubles in damage. Muslims also helped, who by the way were outraged by the terrible act committed by the nanny. But while material damage can be measured in monetary terms, moral damage never can. It's hard to imagine what Nastya Meshcheryakova's parents went through, who believed in a bright future for their daughter and did everything they could to bring her back to a normal, healthy life. Anastasia's 15-year-old brother was in shock for a long time, and Ekaterina, the girl's mother, fainted as soon as she found out what had happened. The father was overwhelmed, suffering repeated nervous breakdowns. After the girl was buried in the city of Livny Oriol region. Every place that was in any way connected to her, the entrance to her building, the metro station where the blood-chilling scene forever frozen in the eyes of passers-by unfolded, the stage, the grave, everything turned into a memorial. People brought toys, candies, flowers, lit candles in memory of the innocent lost soul, and eagerly shared their opinions about what should be done with the woman executioner. The most common suggestion was to take justice into their own hands. The Meshcheryakov family was never able to recover after the tragedy. Vladimir Meshcheryakov started drinking, trying to cope with the grief. He and Yekaterina separated only to reunite again, though not for long. In 2018 he fell ill with meningitis and suddenly died from sepsis. Vladimir was buried next to his daughter in Livny. Yekaterina, who supported her husband in every possible way during his last days after this new tragedy, did not abandon her stepson but devoted all her efforts to his upbringing and education. The young man graduated with a gold medal and entered the medical academy to become a military doctor. After some time, Yekaterina, who although she struggled to bear the weight of all the misfortunes that had befallen her, found a new soulmate, Andriy. They had a son. As for the antagonist of this story, Gulchikra Babakulova, she is still in a psychiatric hospital in Kazan to this day. The doctors say that her condition can be described as stable. She may soon return to her native Penates in Samarkand. The former nanny really wants to see her family, and according to her relatives, the woman will have things to do at home, like taking care of the garden and managing the household.